us. We're Sarah and Shaston. We are mamas, besties, and neighbors. We always say we could throw one of those lines over our houses with that little tiny cup on our ear and be like, hey, bring me over a cucumber.
That's when our cell phones are dead, apparently.
Yeah, hers is dead right now. Anyways, we help people easily grow their own food with limited time, experience, and space.
And today we are so lucky to have our friend and urban gardening expert, Tower Tim, here. And I want to give you a little bit of his background, and it's very impressive. So I'm going to read it off our little cliff notes here so I don't mess it up. Tim, after 12 years of working for the Walt Disney World Company, managing the hydroponic greenhouse pavilion in Orlando, Florida, Tim built a successful business in urban gardening over the last 15 years. Tim is co-founder and CTO of the Tower Garden Company and has been known to speak globally on the future of food and has worked with various universities, NASA, DOE, and USDA. Like Tim, see, here are bloopers already. like us, Tim is a successful at-home grower with his tower gardens and to feed his family healthy, sustainable food. And Tim is pretty much our go-to guy for any questions that we have, whether it's what plant do we plant this type of year, or
do we grow indoor, outdoor? What's our season like?
How do we harvest certain things? It's all different.
He taught us how to pollinate our first zucchini. I mean, we were that green when we started gardening. We really didn't know what the heck we were in for. So today we want to talk to Tower Tim, home gardener and passionate urban farmer, all things gardening. We've got a bunch of questions for you, and we know you've got some for us.
But before we get into the bulk of our questions, I think we have to start off with probably the most important question we have for you.
I totally agree.
So Tim, if you were to come back in your next life as a vegetable, which one would it be and why?
That is a tough one. I've never been asked that question. I don't know if I can answer that because I love all these vegetables. So I would somehow try to come back as all of them.
That'd be pretty impressive.
That would be impressive. Yeah. Cornucopia.
There we go. I'd be a cornucopia. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to start off, you ladies, by saying, thank you for all you do to inspire and teach the local gardening community there in Southern California, and all the moms you inspire and teach. And appreciate all you do. And thank you for having me on today. It's just it's a joy and a pleasure to work with people who really keep gardening fun and simple, and it adds joy to your life every day. And that's what I've always been about. So I'd love to see you spreading gardening and keeping it fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love it. And thank you for inspiring us and being a mentor to us too.
So welcome.
Okay, so our first question.
Yep. So we're going to go into our first question. This one seems pretty relevant to what's happening right now in this crazy little world we're in. A lot of people that garden with us or have been concerned, they're finally asking the question, like, how can I start gardening? How can we make our food supply safer? And what can I do to get started? So we'd love to know kind of what you've done during this crazy time in the world to kind of shift gears and help you garden more efficiently. Certainly.
Well, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And so, and I've been tower gardening for 15. I was a hydroponic gardener a farmer actually of almost every type of hydroponic system imaginable in my years prior to this at Disney. So really the tower gardening, everything we put into the design and development, the know-how for tower gardening is really all about keeping it fun and simple. So, when this recent pandemic hit, for my wife and my family, nothing really changed for us because we have anywhere from 3 to 10 tower gardens growing at one time. We have 3 tower gardens growing behind me indoors. These are tower garden home with the state-of-the-art LED grow lights. And then outdoors, we have several tower garden flexes growing a wide range of food crops. So, if you look at videos I've done, decades or 1 or 2 decades ago, I've always been about being in control of your food supply. When Jessica and I founded this company, we had one simple goal, and that was that every family should have access to clean, safe, healthy food right in the comfort of their own backyard, right? So for us, because we were already in that habit, it was very easy for us just to not worry about what the grocery store is out of, or is it contaminated with anything. I don't know if you know this, but every year, 3,000 plus people in the U.S. die of foodborne illnesses. I think we went through 2 Thanksgivings in a row where we had E. coli contamination on romaine lettuce. And so to me, that's just kind of silly. I love the power of tower gardening, having access to clean, healthy food right in your own backyard. So again, our life didn't change. And I know so many tower gardeners and our partners out there with Tower Garden have been inspiring and helping other families to do the same thing.
Totally. Yeah, definitely.
I'm so blessed to have these in our backyard, and being in Shaston's backyard and having them on our balcony, that's pretty awesome. We have a bike trail right here that takes you right down to Newport Beach. And I've seen people just stop on their bikes and stare over here at our balcony, like, what is going on over there? Like, what is happening up on our balcony? And I'm so proud of that when I see that.
And it is awesome to have you as a neighbor too. I mean, because it's
And what I love about that scene right there behind you is that here you are in coastal Southern California, where the lot lines are small, the backyards are small. A lot of you only have a balcony or a patio that gets some sunlight. And so to take behind me, I've got a 24-inch footprint. You've got a 30-inch footprint. And on that 30-inch footprint, you're growing a vertical condominium of anywhere from 32 plants and beyond. And so, I can understand why people stop and look, because I've seen your videos and your pictures, and your towers are always big and bushy and full of fresh, living, clean food. So great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's my peaceful time. I'm going to go out and prune the tower.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious.
I'm out of basil on my tower, or I just harvested my last head of lettuce. Can I grab one for you? We have that community in our neighborhood, which is pretty freaking awesome.
It is. It is.
Oh,
and the tower produces so much, so you got to share.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the cool things you've got grow? I see some really big crops growing behind you. What are some of the cool crops
I went a little crazy on the peppers this year. I have a lot of peppers. These are poblano peppers.
Okay.
Cheetos, jalapenos, sweet peppers.
This is parsley.
Yep. Parsley
growing like a weed right now.
Lots of basil. And this is kind of cool. I'll pick one right now. I have a tomato plant back here, and I went over to my neighbor's house, and he had gotten a clone off of his plant and gave it to me. So I put the plant, I rooted it in the window, and then I put the plant in rock wool and then popped it in the tower and see if it would work. So that's kind of a cool thing too that you can do. And that plant was initially grown in soil, and then I've transferred it into the tower, and it's flourishing. Now I have these little tiny tomatoes. It's pretty nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. It's fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
That's the rad part about it.
It is.
We have people tell us all the time, I kill succulents. I can't keep anything alive. Why does it look so easy for you in Shaston? How do you make this work? And we just say, it's fun. We just love what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But people sometimes still don't believe us. They're like, how do you do this? Like, do you have any advice for those people?
Sure. Really, the Tower Garden is a culmination of years of work for the development of the garden to keep it fun and simple. So with the Tower Garden, we're growing aeroponically. We're eliminating soil-borne diseases, soil-borne insects. We're growing the food vertically up off the ground for this vertical condominium that's clean and safe. I mean, you think of a regular garden at nighttime, a lot of people don't know this, but rodents kind of are out and about, and skunks, all kinds of things will roam through your garden. So things that I'm going to eat. I can pull a beet out of the ground, or carrot or radish, and I can scrub it, but I can't do that with a lot of my leafy greens, lettuces, and herbs. And so I really love being able to grow those vertically up off the ground. And tower gardening doesn't require bending, weeding, tilling. And so traditional gardening is very laborious, and there's a very long cycle. And you have to be really strict on planting and planning your season. And even in coastal Southern California, where I spend a lot of time with my wife's side of the family, we have our seasons there too. I'm not going to grow basil during the winter in Los Angeles, and so a lot of the nighttime temperatures can be too cold, and so I got to pick and choose what I'm going to grow. So I think that's really it's the simplicity of growing this vertical aeroponic condominium, but the secret is in really the miracle is in the Tower Garden mineral blend, and this is something we developed a long time ago, and it was really the world's first one-size-fits-all hydroponic aeroponic growing food, meaning that we can grow everything from a beautiful head of lettuce to a tomato. If you walk into a traditional hydroponic store, even today, they're going to say, well, what are you growing? And they're going to give you a juice for lettuce, and they're going to give you a juice for kale, and they're going to give you a juice for green beans, a juice for tomatoes. And this adds up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars of different things. And so the Tower Garden, we inspire people, hey, if you want to grow all Bibb lettuce, you can grow all Bibb lettuce. But if you want to grow 20, 30, 40 different crops, you can do that with the same Tower Garden mineral blend. So that's part of the secret sauce, and keeping it fun and simple is the one size fits all plant food that, as long as you follow you can follow a basic recipe of adding, X amount of mineral A and X amount of mineral B to every batch of water.
Yep. And we named Tower Tuesday for that. Tower Tuesday. Tower Tuesday, we remind all of our friends and our gardeners, Tower Tuesday, it's super simple. We've got everyone on a Tower Tuesday bandwagon.
And it's so fun too. I mean, being a mom too, my kids get really excited about it. Sometimes I want to, as a parent, you kind of want to just go get it done. But the kids follow you out there, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But they want to put the solution in, and not only that, but they want to check the pH. I want to do the colored water. That's what they call it.
It's now a science experiment.
Yeah, exactly. And then they come off picking, and I can't tell you how many times I wake up to my daughter, she's 5, in my face, and she's chewing on something already. I'm like, what are you eating? And she goes, a green bean. She's already been out at the tower eating at 7 in the morning. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I love it.
My daughter's obsessed with the basil, and it's up high, so she climbs up on the tower sometimes and rips the leaf down. That's why I have to plant so much of it, because she's like,
oh yeah, sometimes they just rip and tear, you get a whole plant ripped out. That's awesome.
But it's so easy to pop a new seedling back in, and
it is.
Right. My oldest daughter, when she was 1 year old, she would walk out and start grazing on the towers. And I think as I've done presentations at our national conferences over the years, I've used that picture so many times, because to see a child standing up, grazing off the tower, not worried about if it's dirty or whatever, but it's so beautiful to see children want to eat food that tastes good. A lot of the times when we get this food in the store, it's traveled literally either from California or from other countries, and it's wilted, lost its flavor, and it's covered in pesticide chemicals that are slowly killing us.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do that on the Tower Garden. So I just love children being involved. I just saw your daughter from there, so that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Say hi. Yeah. I call her Ruby Q's.
Kids are growing up with Tower Garden, don't know any different, so they keep these garden habits into their teenage and adult life. And it's going to be interesting to see in a couple decades from now how we've transformed this next generation of young people with tower gardening.
Exactly. Yeah. And, not only to see it, eat it, but the excitement that they get. I mean, we'll have their little friends come over, and the first thing is, you gotta come see this cucumber. And then we've had fights over who's the last bite of cauliflower, who's picking this.
Fight over the strawberries. My daughter threw herself on the ground yesterday, and I was worried. I picked her up. I'm like, are you okay? Because Preston ate the last strawberry on our tower. Because I'll buy something in the store for them, and they know the difference. They're like, no, Mom, I only want to eat the blueberries off the bush in the front yard. I don't like the ones packaged. They can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm. So another question is, a lot of people, when we tell them how much the tower is, 620, or the Flex is, it's almost like a sticker shock, which it's really not that expensive. So how can we tell people that this can fit into your budget, and you're going to get a lot more back financially, really, in the end, than you put forward?
Sure. Well, one of the things during the development of the Tower Garden is, I think, as any entrepreneur, when you come up with ideas and innovations, the model today, we've become a very disposable society. So what do I mean by that? Well, just look at Walmart and Home Depot. I hate to say this, but I almost think of them as dollar stores today.
Yeah.
You buy a vacuum, and when I grew up, if your vacuum broke, you took it to the vacuum repairman, and you paid a lot for it. It had metal parts and heavy duty plastic parts, and I think everybody had an industrial type of Hoover vacuum in their home. And today, you throw it away in a year, and it's really sad because I think with the way the corporate America and China have steered us is to low cost items that we dispose of and fill our landfills in our country. And it keeps their business model going, but it's not sustainable for planet Earth. Mm-hmm. It's not the right thing to do. So when we started working with the tower, our question wasn't, how do we make it cheaper? It's how do we make it stronger? How do we make the tower garden industrial strength, lifetime product that's UV stabilized for really decades of use outdoors? And that's what we have today. It's a farm for life. It's a garden for life. And that's really what we're all about. So instead of going to, like if I was to go to Home Depot and Lowe's, I would spend $200, $300, $400 buying giant pots, bags of organic soil. And within 2 years, those pots are fading, they're cracked. And when they become cracked and brittle, the chemicals that went into the plastic are leaching out right back into the soil. So it's kind of an insane way to garden. I see people gardening in PVC pipe and all kinds of things, and these, buckets that are fading and breaking down. And, that's really not healthy for you. You want to grow in something that's not only made of food grade plastic, but it's made to hold up, because even if it's made of food grade plastic and it starts breaking down, it's slowly putting things that you should be eating out into the environment. So number one, building something that's going to last a long time. And number two, we think about, one of the beautiful things about our company is we offer, monthly plan as low as I think, around $50 for Tower Garden Flex per month. And so that's really, really nice. So you can break it up. I mean, a lot of people spend, $200 to $600 a month on fresh produce from places like Whole Foods and Sprouts and that. So, to me, it's almost a nothing burger monthly. And you're quickly supplementing it with produce. So one of the beautiful things that, if I was to quote Ron Finley there in Southern California, growing your own food is like printing money.
Yes.
So once you have your system and you have that garden, you're walking out there. And something else that's really important, ladies, and I know you know this, but you look at that beautiful tower behind you, and when you harvest it, you're getting it fresh off the vine. You're eating it. It's going into your mouth, and the food doesn't even know it's dead yet.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really fresh, living, highly nutritious produce. When you think of the USDA, our own government says that any fresh cut leafy green or vegetable once we cut it, it starts losing nutrition and smell and flavor. And they say from field to table, produce can lose up to 50% of its nutritional value. So not only are farmers growing, even organically, in nutritionally depleted soils today, but now our whole supply chain, which can last up to 4 weeks from field to table in these plastic packages.
Yep.
And you think of that carbon footprint, you grow a head of lettuce and you're using petrochemicals and pesticides and diesel and a tractor to harvest it, a plastic bag to pop that head of lettuce in a cardboard box, to ship it in a semi to bring it across the country here over to Orlando, Florida. And you got to take gas to go to the grocery store. They've got a big chiller that they power at the grocery store. And when think of the environmental impact that each of us has.
Yeah.
When not only for great tasting, nutritional, pesticide-free food, but when I reach over and harvest some kale, or I harvest a beautiful head of lettuce here, I've eliminated all that.
Yeah.
I'm using 98% less water, and there's zero carbon footprint related to all those things I just talked about. So
that makes me really proud.
It does. It makes me really happy.
Yeah, it's a farm for life, and you're harvesting from your home every day.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
One other thing that we get all the time is, how do you know if you should be growing with the Tower Garden Home or the Tower Garden Flex? Like sometimes people are confused by that.
That's a great question. And it's a very, very simple answer. So, Tower Garden home, the ones behind me, they're a little bit smaller. So they're 24 inches. So they're perfect for growing. We made them with the same great plastic that we use to make Tower Garden Flex. It's UV stabilized. So if you like the look and the design, you can use Tower Garden Home on your patio. You just don't buy the grow lights with it, right? So you can, if you like this style, you can use it. Or let's say you have a very small patio or balcony, you would use Tower Garden Home, and we found that 18 to 24 inches is perfect for tucking the vertical garden into a corner on a balcony, replacing an end table indoors or a chair or something like that, right? And you know that, you've done it. So we need a little bit smaller. The plant growing area isn't smaller, just this base. And this base comes with wheels and it can roll around. So it's kind of perfect for tight spaces. But Tower Garden Flex is a bigger base. It's 30 inches wide and it's going to hold more water, and you can actually go taller outdoors. We have people that, grow up to 6 feet tall. And I know there's some radical tower gardeners out there that are doing 11 feet plus outdoors. But so that's really how you decide that. And one of the really cool things about growing indoors is that you heat and cool your home for human comfort. And that just happens to be the temperature range that most cool season temperate crops love to grow in, which is a lot of the produce that we eat, right? So, you're already creating a perfect environment. And then, we have these energy efficient LED grow lights. And what I love about growing indoors is that we don't really have a season unless you live up north and you're letting your house get real cold in the winter. That could slow the tower down a little bit. But for most people, if you're growing indoors, you've got that nice daytime, nighttime temperature. And, the plants just grow. I can grow a head of lettuce from a large transplant and, as little as 21 days. So but we don't grow, too fast. We don't grow too slow. We just grow at a nice, healthy pace. And what's interesting is indoors, when we we don't have wind, we don't have strong sunlight. So I use very little water and nutrients indoors. And the plants are more tender, but that actually makes it really fun to just go and I'm just going to go, look at this is some beautiful red summer crisp here. The leaves just pop right off. If you don't have adequate sunlight or a good environment outdoors, you're going to grow indoors with Tower Garden Home. If you've got a great environment and good sunlight, grow outdoors with Tower Garden Flex. I do have people that they have a great backyard, but they just they want to grow. My kitchen is 5 foot steps around the corner from this room, so they want to grow indoors, and so
great conversation piece too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of the decoration.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. It looks great. And I love how you have your towers organized. I think I might do that to my tower this next go round. Salad tower, juicing tower.
Yeah. What we do with the juicing tower here, I've got some kale down here and some chard, some parsley up here, and then my celery's a lot slower to get started, but once it gets going, it really gets going. And I love those 4 things for juicing because I'm literally going to harvest from these for 6 to 10 months indoors. Yeah. And before these plants just get too stretched out or whatever. And then up here I have other baby greens I love to put in my smoothies and juicing. And then we also have some cooking herbs that we use. And then on the salad tower, same thing, the red and green summer crisp I use in the main body of the lettuce, and then all these spicy greens, Asian greens, green onions up there. I'll use as salad topping, so I kind of call that my penthouse suite, my salad bar.
Yeah, I love it.
Up there for all my healthy, nutritious toppings. And then behind me, I've got some cucumbers, and I'm actually working on a little cucumber training video for growing indoors. When we grow, a lot of our fruiting crops can be big and bushy, and cucumbers are one of these things I'm kind of training around the tower like a candy cane, and I'm striping one at the bottom, one at the top, and I'm just running them around the tower, harvesting cucumbers every day. But it does take some work because I'm having to remove all the sucker shoots, all the little ancillary branches. I can't have my plants growing out away from the light, so it does take a little bit of training and time. And so I hope to have training video on this to you guys shortly. But
Me too, and
I love doing
I think our customers would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to pruning, that's where people are afraid to prune. They're afraid to cut back. So
Really?
I think they'd like.
Well, let me give you a couple simple tips on that today, since if that's a big deal with your customers.
Especially with tomato plants, people are really intimidated by pruning tomato plants, cantaloupes,
And I love the
basil. So.
Okay. Well, one of the things I can tell you is that if you look at my juicing tower here, for example, one of the most important things is to have and maintain a bug-free garden. You want the wind to blow through it. You want the sunlight to get down on all the leaves. When you have enormous bushy overgrown towers, that's when you create an environment where bugs can hide out, where other leaves don't get enough sunlight. So actually suckering tomatoes is really important. Suckering cucumbers, suckering peppers. From time to time, I just go in and pinch out some of those extra vines. And that also helps the other fruit that is being produced to get big, large, and healthy. So when we cut our plants back, we can look at our parsnip there. You'll notice my kale. You see kind of all these little sticky looking things down below. So every plant has a growing tip. Horticulturally speaking, we call it the meristematic growing tip. That's where the next baby leaf comes out. So on kale, as it grows, it gets further out. So a lot of times when I'm in a hurry in the morning, I can harvest my kale in two ways. I can come and just pinch the leaves like this. And they pinch real easy outdoors. Sometimes I have to cut them, but indoors they pinch real easy. Or if I'm in a hurry, I can come over with the pruning shears like this, and I can grab that bunch of kale and just cut the top off like that, and I can do that with all these plants. Now, as long as I don't cut those little growing tips, then it keeps growing out, and we want to do that. And let's say here's another great tip. If you're going on vacation, you have some large plants. You know what I want you to do is I want you to go over and cut those plants back, put them in a shopping bag, and go hang them on someone's door. And you can make friends with lots of neighbors.
Yeah.
And
Community.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but that's how I keep all my plants harvested. I really, I've seen over the years, I've seen so many people, they have, my dill's flowering and it's so beautiful. And what I share with people, if you want to grow beautiful 3-foot plants, you should be doing that out in your yard in a garden bed. The tower garden is a vertical condominium. So if you want tremendous success, having said that, I've seen people grow, 6-foot towers, but for the beginning gardener, let's keep your towers looking like this. Always prune back and eat from it and you'll do well.
And we've noticed from our own experience that when we're constantly harvesting and eating off of our towers daily, they just grow so much better. Mm-hmm. You get the constant grow back where you can be harvesting off of the same lettuce for like up to 3 months sometimes outside, even during this time. And that's just kind of what we want to share with people. It's like harvest. Do not be afraid to harvest.
Exactly.
When you transplant a seedling into here, you can literally start harvesting within a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes sooner off the baby greens, right? So
exactly.
That's very surprising to people how fast things grow. So very important to keep up with the harvesting.
And I always call it foolproof because it's on the self-watering timer. Funny story, Shaston went out of town last week and I was in charge of taking care of her towers. But typically when you do that,
bad idea.
Listen. Typically when you do that, people maintenance their tower before they leave for vacation. Am I right?
I did maintenance it.
This chick, she did not.
Seriously?
Anyways,
this is being recorded. I did maintenance it.
Okay, she maintenanced it. I spaced it and forgot to come by. And
I came home and
it ran out of water. She came home and it was literally like sad. Like all the plants were down. She calls me, "Did you not come put water in my tower?" And I was like, "Yeah, I forgot. I'm so sorry." And I said, "But you know what? It's okay. Just fill it with water, add the minerals, plug it in for 24 hours, and I bet you it's back to life." What happens?
Yeah, they all just right back up.
And we were great because we knew we were doing this with you. We're like, I was like, "Oh shoot, hopefully it doesn't look dead." But look at it. It all came back. Thriving.
Look, that's the beauty of the tower garden. It's in the power of aeroponics, it bounces right back. So the important thing is if you ever see it wilt, just fill it up with fresh water real quick and let it start doing its thing. You know, one of the things I wanted to ask you is like right now, you know, I hear about families are so busy. Moms are working, dads are working, and they have full-time jobs. And now with some of the recent things that have happened, they're actually on top of everything, having to teach their kids at home through Zoom, or they're actually homeschooling, taking that option instead of going to school. You know, and I know so many people here, you know, I want to eat healthy. I want to get my immune system strong. I want to lose weight. I want to be healthier, but I just don't have time to garden. And when I look at what the two of you are doing with your family, what would you say to people who think that way about gardening?
Well, for me, I don't know. I think it's all about setting a routine in place, which we're getting kind of back into. It's been thrown off for a lot of people right now. But I think Tower Tuesday is a perfect thing that Sarah came up with, and kind of keeps you on track with checking the water level, putting your minerals in, and that sort of thing. But also find a love in it. I never really had that much of a green thumb. But now I wake up in the morning, I get my coffee, and I walk out to my towers, and I'm always kind of excited to see a sucker on a tomato that I can pick off. There's really not that much maintenance, and sometimes I finish in 30 seconds to a minute. I'm going, man, I wish there was more that I could have done, you know, to clean it up and stuff, because there's really not, and it's so fun to see so quickly a tiny seedling grow into look at this parsley. I mean, I can't with it, which I need to trim it and put it in a bag and put it on someone's doorstep. I'm going to do that today.
Well, I mean, traditional gardening requires a lot of bending, weeding, and tilling. So a lot of people, they have to put literally weekends just preparing their garden and to go out and we're going to go weed the garden this weekend and stuff like that. So how many minutes a day do you think you spend with each tower on average, if you average out your week for minutes a day on a tower?
Oh gosh.
I'm obsessed with being outside, and because I incorporate my children with the tower gardening, I always say my office is my backyard. But
nice.
When it comes to maintenance with the tower garden, I would say I can get all my tower garden maintenance done within like 15 to 20 minutes a week.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that sounds about right. That's about what our family does. You know, I have to laugh, and when I say laugh, it's kind of a sad laugh when I hear people say, their kids won't eat anything green. You just said you had your kids out there. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I always say that you have to grow what you go through for your kids to eat green, because it's funny, I'll buy strawberries from Trader Joe's before I was growing them on the tower garden, and my kids were like, ew. And then they love strawberries from Trader Joe's. However, they're not having tantrums over strawberries about Trader Joe's. They are with the tower garden. And they're fighting for that strawberry. They're fighting for that piece of basil, the cauliflower.
Well, I think involving the kids too from the whole process. You get it out of a plastic bag and you open it and throw it in a bowl. It's not that exciting, but when you put the child or kids help us plant the seeds, in the rock wool, and it can be quite the experience. But we help them, and then they start seeing it sprout. They get excited, and then all of a sudden there's a zucchini this big, and they through it, and they get to taste it, pick it right off, take a bite out of it, and they love it.
It's taking ownership over it. They're really proud of what they're doing. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's scientifically proven kids that grow their own fruits and vegetables eat more fruits and vegetables. And with tower gardening, it's really accentuated, I believe, because it's like the iPhone of gardening. Kids don't do the dirty stuff.
Yep.
That normally happens with traditional gardening, and they don't have to weed. I mean, I've never met anybody that likes weeding, and so there is no tilling, and so they love. It's a very clean way to garden, and my kids don't know anything different. So that's really awesome that you have your kids involved and that they're eating. You know what I really love too is every time I see you post pictures on Instagram there, and I see your children touching something, or I just think how cool that is that and you see like infants, they absorb everything. Their skin is very good, and they walk up and they touch something and they put lettuce in their mouth, and it's like it's pesticide free, it's chemical free, it's there's nothing harmful on that. And you can't say that when you go into the grocery store. I the other day I bought some organic grapes, and I had to wash them 3 times to get all the dirt and debris. and even that was organic. And I was like, well, what's on the dirt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this by a road? Were these by a dusty road? Like, how did all this dirt get on there? And so it's just really fun to be in control of your food supply. So I know the two of you were very busy before you ever started gardening. So, really, what drew you to tower gardening? Like, how did you even get involved, and how do you include your whole family? How do you make that work?
I really loved the simplistic approach to the tower gardening. I've always gardened. At our first house that my husband and I purchased, we had a beautiful garden outside in dirt. And then we moved to our new house right over here, neighbors with Shaston. And I realized I just didn't have the space, and I wanted to be able to have a nice backyard for my kids to like kick soccer balls. And so I realized that I couldn't have the raised beds. And I saw tower gardening, and it kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, holy moly, I can have fresh produce at my fingertips for $1.80 a day, pretty much. That really was a no-brainer. So I started with one, and then I realized, wow, I want more produce. So then I got two, and then I was like, well, I really want to share with my community, because we've kind of started a neighborhood community garden here. So then I bought three. And it's just been pretty awesome that I have a dinner table outside of my backyard, and we can pick fresh produce, put it on the table, and let my kids pick from it. And it's just really fit into my lifestyle in a really natural way. And I'm just so thankful. I'd never go back.
Yeah, and I used to garden also, have the raised beds. Then we moved here to this property, and we have an amazing property backyard, but we would grow it down in our raised beds. We have pests like no other, and not only that, but we basically live on an anthill. And there's the Japanese beetle just coming to say hi multiple times. And so I went over to Sarah. I met Sarah and went over to her house, and I saw these things in her backyard. Like, what the heck is that thing? And she had told me about tower guard and all this stuff. And to be totally honest with you, I was extremely intimidated at first. I was like, I don't think I could do that. That looks a little crazy. And long story short, I acquired a tower garden and very quickly realized how simple it was and was amazed. And at that time, my dad got really sick. He got encephalitis, which is a virus in your brain. And so having fresh produce to help build that immune system and get him back on the right track was extremely important for us. So we got 2 tower gardens, and now we have 3, and we eat what we grow mostly. And if it's not coming from us, we have, again, amazing community that we live in, and we're all on our walks sharing grapefruits and apples and mulberries and passion fruits and all sorts of stuff, and we share from our tower. And it's pretty magical what not only the fresh produce can bring to you as an individual, but it really can bring people together. Yeah. It's cool.
And it's pretty awesome to see all the people that we're helping worldwide with the tower gardening. I love waking up to pictures of our friends and our customers, like
text messages
of them, like with their harvested, and seeing how proud they are of what they're doing, and like thanking us for introducing them to this way of gardening. I sometimes just cry, like tear up when I get those messages, because that's why I love sharing it so much. When I get those types of responses from people, and I'm just like, wow, how did I not know about this 4 years ago?
Yeah,
I'm just so thankful. And
well, yeah, you've turned. What I love about what you've done is you've turned a personal passion and a personal garden into a thriving business called Growing Beyond Organic. So how the heck did that even start? When did you start that, and how did it start?
Well, we were selling the tower gardens, and just being the people that we are, we would germinate our seeds, and then we'd be mostly friends and stuff. And so as a gift to them, we'd just fill their tower. So they didn't have to go through the process of, germinating their own seeds and whatnot. Okay. Well, then we started like selling more and more, and then the pandemic, and so even more. And it wasn't really cost efficient or time efficient for us to.
Well, and it's funny because people were like, please stop giving us these seedlings for free. We see everything that you and Shaston are doing. Right. Like,
they would all of a sudden they'd Venmo us money.
Or they'd be like, please let us pay you for it. Yeah. And so we realized, like, wow, like there's such a demand for it, and there's not like a very localized, like Orange County seedling provider that we were like, let's just start doing this. It's fun and we love it. So then we decided in January just to go big with planting
We'd
a
sit
ton
on her
of seedlings.
driveway, and her husband would set up the big, what do you call those? The big dome lights or whatever
Yeah.
on us. We'd have our glass of wine.
Yeah, and we just plant, and the kids would be running around.
1,000 plants.
And then the pandemic hit, and it was literally overnight. We were getting like 10 messages a day from next door, like, I need to buy seedlings from you. Just from one post I posted in January. And we're like, oh my gosh, like we need to throw a website together. People really want this. So we threw a website together, and it's just been really successful. And we're really helping our community. And for both soil gardening and tower gardening. And now it's like word of mouth and like referrals. Yeah. And it's been such a blessing.
Well, you can see it's for you're extraordinary entrepreneurs, and love to see your heart and your passion and your love, and it just expands. And I can see why people are attracted to you, your business, what you have to offer, because you do it with a lot of joy and humor and love, and that's just super fun to see. And so I think the last thing I'd ask is, what's your, I mean, you guys are blowing up, so what's your plans for the future? How do you how do you continue to inspire healthy living and this type of lifestyle? And I know you both are just super active. So, what are your future plans? Where are you going to, personally and with your business, where do you plan to take all this?
Well, I mean, that's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never asked you that question before, so I'm super interested in that one.
Well, we have honestly a lot of different, with the world being in the state that it's in, we're realizing that maybe our plan might have to shift a little bit. So I feel like we're definitely on shifting sands and kind of adapting to what's currently taking place. We just recently wanted to do a class on how to germinate, but then
a master class.
Yeah. With the rollback, that kind of made it hard. So we're thinking now going virtual. I know we'd love to have a farm one day with those 11-foot towers.
Yeah. So what to speak to that, the farm that she's talking about, we have totally had this idea to do a pop-up kind of shop farm, like rooftop, and it's almost like the farmer's market where you come in on a subscription plan and just pick your produce for the week or even for the day, and you take it home, and it's got experiences there. Like we have fun growing beyond organic merchandise that people can buy, like little tiny, like you can make a smoothie or sit and do some work, like just really vibey and fun. So that's kind of
gardening fun.
Yeah. So that's kind of in our minds.
And I think that's like a really big important part of what we do too, is gardening can be extremely intimidating for a lot of people. And so I would love to see this in college dorm rooms. And, everybody, we don't, it's like our who's your demographic? Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can do this.
This is a real food growing machine that can feed your family something from it every single day. A beautiful salad every night for dinner.
Exactly.
We juice every day, or do smoothies off of our towers. And it's really amazing to know that we have this machine and this engine that we can feed people clean, healthy, nutritious food anywhere on earth. So again, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for spreading the vision and the mission. And I personally look forward to watching you grow and where you take this into the future. Both of you are absolutely amazing. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Tim. If that would happen to us, that a Japanese beetle would be flying around. That's got to be good luck, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Right. That's good luck.
We know you're not covering your tower garden with harmful chemicals, because I've seen all kinds of birds, and while we've been talking, butterflies, birds, and I guess beetle flying around.
It's funny because we call ourselves urban gardeners, because that was just a bug. Look at how our reaction was.
Really. If anyone can do it, if we can do it, anyone can do it. Seriously. Thank you, Tim. You're the best. We truly appreciate you taking the time with us today. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate you.